Well, good afternoon. I'm coming to you this afternoon with a video blog instead of my usual written blog. And I am in a rest area just around Duncannon on my way home after a really great 24 hours or so of meetings and gatherings across our diocese that I wanted to share with you. Because as I've been driving along and thinking and praying, I've realized that there's a theme developing here that I think is sort of fun to consider. So in the last 24 hours, I've been in my second office of my car for about 9 or 10 of those hours, and I've spent some time in Phillipsburg at a convocation meeting last night. I drove home to Mechanicsburg, came back up to State College this morning for a wonderful clergy council meeting, over to Milton for my first visit with that church, with that congregation, and then over to Lewisburg to check in on our interim priest, Jim Strader. And I've had just some really wonderful visits. And in all of this, I think the connecting theme is my interest in really being present. As you know, part of my goal for this first year is to listen to the diocese and to learn as much as I can about our congregations and about the communities and where God's moving in all of that and in our neighborhoods. And so being there is the best way to do that. So I've been spending some good hours behind the wheel. I've also been listening to a CD by Richard Rohr, a series of conversations in a conference that he led on the Enneagram. It's called Enneagram as Grace. And in that, he talks about 3 different loci or places or ways in which we can encounter the divine presence. And so he talks about the need to use both parts of our brain, particularly the right side of the brain that allows for a kind of non-binary thinking, the kind of part of our brain that talks about creative functioning. He talks about opening our heart, the heart center, and encountering God's presence through vulnerability. And then he talks about the importance of being aware of and really seated in our bodies, noticing our breath, noticing the places where we hold tension or anxiety and being able to release that in our shoulders or our backs. And so those 3 channels of head and heart and body being aligned and working together to encounter God's divine presence. I've also been thinking about the gospel lessons in this Eastertide and how the presence of Jesus is made manifest in these lessons to his disciples and followers on the beach, in the upper room, on the road to Emmaus. So presence seems to be the theme that I've been rolling around in my head. And presence is important to me on Sundays as I gather with you in our congregations and we break bread together at God's table and share in the bread and the wine and the body and blood of Jesus as we come closer to God in that way through the real presence of Christ and share in that unity of body as we gather. So that's what I've been thinking about. I'm headed home now, just about 20 minutes away from home, but wanted to give this report from the road for this week. And we'll no doubt be back to writing to you all next week. Eastertide greetings and blessings.